Now we're going to place a photo of a person on there. So let's go back, and here are the pictures for the poster that I had. And I'm going to go with this one right here. Drag and drop it in. If you hover your mouse over here, you can rotate it around. And we'll just put it back where it was. There we go. And you can change the size. So, over here. And if you get it the way you like, right here on the check mark. Good. That's nice. All right, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually get rid of all of this white around him. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to select all of him. So there's a couple of selection tools that we're going to use. And the first one would be this guy right here, the quick selection tool. The shortcut is wand, or W for wand. The magic wand tool as well is there, but we're going to use the quick selection tool, and we're going to click and drag up. I'm going to zoom in a bit, hit Z for the zoom button, and I drag on in. There we go, so I can see a little bit better. Hold down the space bar, you get a hand, and you can drag. And you can see here the quick selection tool has selected all of this. I'll go back to W for the quick selection. And I'm just going to keep on going. It's got his hair in there. We're going to add a bit of that. I'm going to zoom on in. Oh, that's just a zipper. That's not the actual quick selection. And spacebar and hand. I'm just making sure I've got everything. Yep, looks like it. Command 0 pulls us back. And one thing that I am going to do is I did notice that we got just a little bit of this white right here. And so I'm going to use the lasso tool, L for lasso. And if I just started using the lasso tool and drew some space here or whatever, it would get rid of the part that I've just selected here. So what I want to do is I want to add to the selection. And the way I do that is, oh sorry, I said add, but I actually meant subtract. I'm going to hold down the Option key. See how you have the minus sign there next to the lasso tool? So I'm going to pick the area that I don't want. I'm highlighting that. Boom, and you'll see how it got rid of that part right there. Now if I wanted to add something, I could hold down the Shift key. See how it's got the plus sign there, the add sign? So, and then I would draw around the area that I wanted to add to my selection. So I can add and subtract using the Shift and the Option keys here in using the lasso tool. Okay, so now I have my model selected right here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a mask around him. The way that you do that, see down here on the bottom right, add layer mask. I'm just going to click on that. Boom. And what that's done is that's just basically it's like a piece of acetate that you put down over top of it. So yeah, it allows you to see through this part right here. I held down the Option key and I clicked on the mask, and that showed me what it was. And the cool thing about masks is that you can add and subtract using the brush tool. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to zoom in. There's a little bit of white in his hair. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go hit B for brush. So here I've got the brush tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint black on top. So I can change the size of the brush by going, and the settings of the brush by going here. Okay, hardness of 0. I'm actually going to go for a much larger brush than this. So, there we go, 14. I said larger, I actually meant smaller. Okay, I hit return in order to put that brush thing away, the window away, and I'm going to change the opacity. I'm going to pull it down to about 50, close to 50. and then I'm going to paint here. And you see how I'm just getting rid of the white, and it's basically making it transparent. So I'm adding to the mask. You'll notice here, see what I've added to right here? Okay. Now, what I could also do, I could do the opposite. I could swap out the colors right here. So now I've got white, and well, I've got white underneath, so that's going to be difficult to show. But basically what you can do is you can use white to get rid of the mask. I'm going to undo what I've done, flip back to black, paint the black in here on top, paint out this white right here. Okay. Pretty good. There's a little bit around him, but that's okay to have a bit of a halo around him and that kind of thing. And just a quick little demo, actually, of what I was talking about. What I'm gonna do, I'll zoom in here right like this, and I'm going to paint onto the mask with black. I'm going to take out his hair right here like this big bit swat. Okay, so I'm painting with black right now, but if I swap it and I paint with white, you can notice I'm adding his hair back. Okay, so I can do that, and then I swap out with black, and I'm painting out the white. So just a better demonstration, actually, of what I was talking about. All right. So now what I'd like you to do is make sure you go to your Move tool, which is V is the shortcut. Brings you this Move tool. You might need to turn on your Show Transform controls, and we're going to change the size of our person right here like that, and we're going to say yes, we like this. That's this checkbox right here. And just a reminder that when you want to keep the same ratio, hold down the Shift key when you're changing this. Otherwise, if you let go of the Shift key, you can warp it. All right, and so click either Return, or you click on the checkbox up on the top. What I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to place all of your other models, all of the other people that will be in this, that will be in your poster. So for me, I'm going to go to the JPEGs for poster folder right here, and I'm going to take each one of these guys and I'm going to drag and drop them in there. And I'm going to do the exact same thing as what I did before. I'm going to make sure that I select the person and then create a mask. So please do that for all of the people in your poster. Alright, and with the magic of video editing, I now have my, I've got all of my characters in here. And what I'm going to do is I want you to notice, first of all, that the layers matter over here. So first of all, my main character, which is on the bottom, is hidden. And so if I grab this and I pull it up, you'll notice, there we go. So now we can see him. So the next thing that we're going to do is I'm actually going to change some of the pictures. And so the first thing that I want to do is I want to add a camera raw filter to this picture right here. And so I'm going to go filter and camera raw filter. And notice that I had selected the actual picture itself, not the mask. So here I am in the camera raw filter. And what I can do is I can bring it down. I actually want to make this kind of gritty and dirty kind of thing, so you can notice you can play around with the contrasts and the highlights, etc. And also note too that it's showing me the entire picture. as opposed to the part that's masked out. Don't worry about all this, the white part here that we've already removed. And so we're going to do this. And the great thing about this is it's a smart filter. You're going to be able to make any adjustments you want afterwards. So if you decide, you know what, I made that too dark or whatever, that's totally fine. So I played around with all of these. Remember, I wanted it kind of gritty and dark, so I've got this the way I want, and I hit OK, and you'll notice it's applied that. So over here in the layers, you'll notice that I've got smart filters that's added in there. If I just turn this off, you notice it turns off the smart filter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it back on, and oh, there it is, there. And I'm going to actually play around with each one of these and get it the way that I want. And there we go. There we are. So through the magic of video editing, I now have my camera raw filters set. Just to give you a quick view of the settings I used, like I said, I was going for kind of a darker sort of thing, but for this one right here, I changed the exposure, brought up the contrast, highlights, brought shadows down a little, whites down a little, blacks way down, and bumped the clarity up a bit. And for this one right here, see, brought down the exposure, up the contrast, up the highlights, shadows down, whites up, blacks down, clarity way up. Now, one of the things I'm going to do actually is I'm going to use hue saturation to change this pink shirt to a black shirt so that it matches the others. I'll show you that in a little bit. And for this one, exposure, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, clarity. Okay, awesome. Another thing to note too is that if you want to move some of these pictures around or change, change their size or whatever, I personally like working with the transform controls turned on. But if you go Command T, that takes you kind of to a different section here, and you can see that you've got some different options up here, which allow you to do things like rotate and just give actual numbers and that kind of thing too, if you wanted to put it, or if you wanted to say, hey, no, I want that back, you just type in 0, it goes right back there. Command T lets you do that, as well as just you can warp and things like that. Let me put that back to 0. The other thing that I could have done, actually, let me just show you. If I just do that, I say, nah, I don't like that. I can hit escape, or I can click on this right here, and then it goes right back to what it was.